Cosmere lore goes deep. The Cosmere is basically the only book series I've read where you can read every single book in the series and still only know like 10% of the actual lore, because a lot of it over the years has been revealed in fan interviews and Q&As and live streams and signings and things of this nature. And all of that has been organized by the lovely folks at the 17th Shard into a massive database called Arcanum, which is itself then organized and turned into lovely articles on another website called The Coppermind. And it's overall just a very enjoyable experience sometimes to dig into the depths of this lore. Is any of this important at all? No, none of it matters. None of it really will affect your enjoyment of the series at all. But I don't know. I don't have anything better to do. There will be some spoilers ahead, but I have labeled the individual sections below that include spoilers for which books, so hopefully that's helpful. Otherwise, sorry. But anyway, without further ado, I hope you will join me for Taldane was the first planet in the Cosmere to invent instant noodles. Because investiture is merely another manifestation of mass and energy, large quantities of investiture gathered in a single location can have relativistic effects, including gravitational lensing and time dilation. Brandon has actually asked a team of mathematicians and physicists to work out the precise mathematical relationship between mass, energy, and investiture, but it's taking a while because, you know, as it would turn out, inventing an entirely new system of physics that's self-consistent is really tough. In the originally published version of Elantris, people from the nation of Teod were referred to as Teoish. However, this was changed in the 10th anniversary edition such that these people are now referred to merely as Teo. There is no known connection between Shosh, the letter in the alphabet of Halindran, and Shosh, the Alethi glyph meaning dangerous. Although both words are pronounced the same way, Brandon has implied that this is merely a linguistic coincidence. At one point in time, cats could be found in Shinovar. However, Brandon has refused to comment on whether or not cats can still be found there, and says we will have to, quote, wait for Book 5 to find out more. So, there's a mystery for you. It would be slightly more difficult for a shard blade to cut through cheese than through almost any other material. This is because shard blades work by vaporizing a small amount of the substance through which they pass just ahead of the edge of the blade, but are not protected from the sides. They are vulnerable to cheese because blocks of cheese, when cut, exert pressure on the sides of a knife, often creating noticeable resistance. Thus why many cheese knives are designed with holes in the middle of the blade. This same principle applies to shard blades, and indeed is the reason why techniques like the last clap, where a warrior stops a shard blade by grabbing it from both sides during combat, work at all. Brandon has suggested that walls of cheese about 10 feet in thickness would be sufficient to stop most shard blades, although thinner shard blades, or shard blades with holes in the middle, would be less susceptible to the force exerted by the cheese. The earliest form of photography on Scadrial was the Ivanotype. This name seems to be a reference to the daguerreotype, which was invented by the French artist Louis-Jacques Mondet Daguerre, indicating that the Ivanotype probably was invented by some guy named Evan. The name of the herald Pelaya, although it doesn't look palindromic, is in fact a palindrome when written in Vorin script. This is because the letter H in Vorin languages is a placeholder which may stand for any letter, and thus her name may be more accurately pronounced Pelayap. 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 Whatever. In Tress of the Emerald Sea, the tablet that Fort uses for writing and communication is hacked by the sorceress, allowing her to spy on the crew of the Crow's Song through the tablet's webcam. Fort could have prevented this from happening with the help of today's sponsor, NordVPN. Whether you're looking to keep yourself safe from hackers, protect your online identity... In The Hero of Ages, the Lord Ruler's final plaque beneath Phaedrex City contained a complex mathematical puzzle that, if solved, points to the location of the Lord Ruler's Atium stash beneath the pits of Hothzin. Ven, however, didn't solve this puzzle, and indeed didn't recognize that it was a puzzle at all. This is because Ven, having never received a formal education, was very bad at math. According to the religion of the Iriali people, who are found on Roshar as well as on other planets, the spiritual realm and the beyond, where souls travel after death, are in fact one and the same place. Most Cosmere philosophers, however, do not agree with this. The atium that Allomancers use to peer into the future in Mistborn Era 1 is in fact not pure atium, but an alloy of pure atium and electrum. Brandon was forced to make this retcon upon realizing that atium as described in the books works differently to all other god metals in the Cosmere, in that it can only be burned by an allomancer, unlike, say, lerasium, which can be burned by anyone. Thus, all atium in Era 1 actually contains trace amounts of electrum, making it impure and only usable by Mistborn or atium mistings. This impure atium, however, can be refined to produce pure atium, which has indeed happened before during the experiments in Era 2 where harmonium was reacted with trellium. Peace's theorem is the Rosharan equivalent of Occam's razor, the principle stating that the best explanation for a phenomenon is usually, all other things being equal, the explanation that posits the existence of the fewest number of entities. It was named after Peace, a user on the 17th shard. Tinkfons are a type of pastry originating from the nation of Pankal on Nalthis. They are typically considered a delicacy and are designed to be eaten in small bites with a piece of bread in between each bite to clear away the taste. Despite fan speculation to the contrary, at no point in the entirety of the Stormlight Archive does any character explicitly state that they would like to be crushed by Yasna Kolin's thighs. Adolin's name means born unto light in Alethi. This can be derived from the root words Adoda, meaning light, and Lin, meaning born unto. The city of Urithiru is in fact not a giant spaceship. I mean, I could see why people might imagine it would be a giant spaceship, but it's not. It's just a normal city. Well, not normal, but it's not a spaceship. In the same vein, according to calculations by 17th shard user CC Stat, Urithiru, standing at 1,000 meters in height, is slightly taller than the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, although significantly wider around the base. The 10 Fools are mythical characters found in the legends of many cultures on Roshar. Each Fool is meant to represent the antithesis of one of the 10 Heralds, although it is unclear which of the 10 Fools is meant to be associated with which Herald. And indeed, only the names of 3 of these fools are known: Kabine, Eshu, and Dilid. While writing The Way of Kings, Brandon Sanderson usually listened to songs by the band Daft Punk when writing scenes about Szeth. At a signing in Stuttgart in 2016, Brandon revealed that he was planning to write a novel set on the planet Trinity called The Dusk Brigade. However, the name of the novel was misheard as being The Dust Brigade, and thus the book was incorrectly referred to by that name until 2022, when Brandon changed the title to The Night Brigade, scrapping the original name altogether. Because they spend the entirety of their lives in knee-deep water, the people of the Pure Lake region are unable to dig latrines to dispose of human waste. The Pure Lakers have adapted to this limitation by allowing human waste, as well as other garbage, to be carried away by high storms. Okay, I'm actually going to need to pause for a second here, because Brandon, what have you done? You're telling me that the Pure Lakers tie their poop outside during high storms and allow it to be carried by the high storms across the entire continent? You're telling me that high storms are filled with human feces and garbage from the Pure Lake? Dare I even ask if there's any relationship between this and Krem? Brandon, I love the Cosmere, I love the world building, but I'm not sure you thought this one entirely through, because why? What is the purpose of this? Why would anybody choose willingly to live in the Pure Lake? Why? There are currently no Chols holding shards anywhere in the Cosmere. When the Lord Ruler accessed the power in the Well of Ascension, one of the changes he made to Scadrial was shifting the entire crust of the planet to make it so that the well, which had previously been located at the North Pole, was at a latitude where there was a normal day and night cycle. However, shifting the crust caused the location of magnetic north to shift as well, meaning that throughout the entire reign of the Final Empire, all compasses pointed towards the Well of Ascension, and by extension Luthadel. This fact, for many years, was taken as evidence of the Lord Ruler's divinity. According to the Stick interlude, a deleted chapter from Words of Radiance, the character Stick is a stick. In fact, that's basically the only thing we can say for certain about this character. Are they a world topper? I don't know. But they are definitely a stick. Uzkri is a character from a famous Rosharan poem written in the 5th century of the Alethi calendar, who kills herself upon learning that her lover has perished, although in reality he was still alive. Today, a person is said to be critic if they are prone to acting impulsively and without the proper information. In The Hero of Ages, when Sazed ascended to become Harmony and recreated all the animals that went extinct when the Lord Ruler first came to power, he not only used the knowledge in his copper mines to reconstruct these animals, but also the spiritual remnants of the extinct species, which he pulled from the spiritual realm. This is because many artists' depictions of these animals from the manuscripts in his copper mines were anatomically inaccurate, and going off these illustrations alone would likely have resulted in him creating hideous monstrosities. In Yak-Heved, it is not customary for women to change their name upon marriage. Thus, Shallan is still Shallan Devar, and not Shallan Colon. Gave in Trone, during his tenure as the mayor of Bilming on Scadrial, attempted to introduce a ban on the popular sport of noseball. However, his ban was not enforced by constables, and thus noseball did not die out in popularity. On Roshar, rubber comes from a rubber tree. You know, just like it does on Earth. That's canon. There is only one Sion for every Aeon. Prior to his encounter with Shallan in Words of Radiance, Hoid had not been hugged in a very long time. Okay, I hope at least someone found this amusing or mildly interesting. I have a life, I promise. I'm not just a walking repository of useless information. But I just thought some of these tidbits were intriguing. I don't know. Maybe some of you did too. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Bye.